All right, we are on air. It is January 18th, and this is a meeting to check in on active development tasks for Backdrop CMS. Before we get started, I'm happy to announce that we have gotten all of our signed copies of the fiscal agreement back to the Software Freedom Conservancy, which is great. And so the lawyers are now working on drawing up all of the documents they need for us to actually start being sponsored, which is great. I'm hoping that'll mean that later this month, we'll be able to send a newsletter out to our people, letting them know about the Conservancy as our fiscal sponsor, and also requesting donations, which is something we haven't done for a long time. So tax deductible donations, that'll be really exciting for people. This week we have a new community member. Kelamash has ported the file field paths module. So thanks for all your work there. It's looking really great, and it should be moved into the Contrib repository later today. New homepage redesign is mostly done. There are a couple of little CSS glitches that I'm going to clean up later today. But if anyone sees anything weird going on backdropcms.org related to the new homepage stuff that's up, file an issue in the backdropcms.org queue, and we will sort it out. Also, now that Backdrop 1.9 is out, I'm hoping to take the Borg-based theme and apply it to our API website so we can get some consistent branding across all of our sites. So that'll need to be done a little bit carefully, because right now we have really great code formatting on the API site, and I want to make sure that we don't lose any of that in replacing the theme. All right, let's turn it over to Neat for Backdrop.
Hey, all right. I've got a couple of last things I need to add to the agenda here. Okay, boy, yay, 1.9. 1.9 is out. Yay, let's do a little celebrate. Woo! 1.9 came out on Monday, and that included some minor new functionality, including the ability to edit an existing file in place, separate from any piece of content or anything like that. And that is, there's a couple other minor additions functionality-wise in 1.9 as well. But that's kind of the main one that you'll see from an end user standpoint. There's also quite a few bug fixes and everything that are in 1.9, and we'll cover real quickly what those things are in the 1.8.2 update. So every time we make a new minor release, we also make one last bug release of the previous minor version. So 1.8 was the version prior to 1.9, and 1.8.2 was made on Monday as well. That includes, I'm really, really happy to say, includes almost all of the cross ports from Drupal. So we knocked out issue 2013, 2774, and 2775, which includes cross ports from Drupal 7.50 in previous versions, cross ports from Drupal 7.51, and then the last one, Drupal 7.52 through 7.54. So that all told is probably about 25 additional ports that are all included in 1.8.2. That's really, really great. We also included all of those fixes, of course, in 1.9 itself. So I just wanted to put it out there. If you're looking to upgrade to 1.8.2 for some reason, like you just want the bug fixes and you don't want the new features in 1.9, then that version's available. But really, because of the minor increment nature of 1.9, we even put in the release notes, we really just recommend everybody just move right to 1.9. There's almost no danger of any serious repercussions from going from 1.8 to 1.9. So we just say, just go to 1.9.0. It's a pretty minor set of changes. So let's see. Speaking of 1.9, there are a couple of items that still need to be completed regarding the creation of the new release. We have a checklist that we follow every time we make a new version of Backdrop. And the checklist for 1.9 is at issue 2941. And some of the items in the checklist that have yet to be completed include writing up a more comprehensive blog post.
We have one. Found it.
Oh, you've drafted it?
No, it's already up.
Oh, you should check the box on the checklist.
I did. Refresh the page.
You did that like in the last 5 seconds, apparently. Okay. Yay. That's amazing. So the blog post is now up. We still need to send out the newsletter then, announcing that 1.9 is out.
The newsletter won't go out until 1.9.1 or 2 weeks from Monday, whichever comes first.
Okay, awesome. Do you want to go ahead and run through any of these other items that have to be released, that have to be completed?
We need to email Katie at PHP Weekly. She'll send, or whoever's in charge of it will send a newsletter out on next Monday saying that Backdrop 1.9 is out. So I think that's probably valuable to do. And then we've got a bunch of post-release tasks to do as well.
Yep, and a lot of those include like updating the roadmap, updating the Docker image, pushing it to Pantheon, updating Wikipedia. So we've got a couple of things that need to be done there that we'll kind of address as soon as possible. But 1.9.0 itself is out, and it has been announced via Twitter, at least. It's on the homepage. Everybody's sites are probably saying, hey, there's a new version available now. So all of those things proceeded as expected with no special surprises, which was great. Let's see. 1.9.1 will be the first bug fix release of 1.9. There's one issue that we identified pretty quickly after the release came out, and that is that there's a set of circumstances that make it so that it can be difficult to run update.php, or sorry, difficult to log in after upgrading from a previous version to 1.9.0. If you're already logged in and you run update.php, or if you run update.php via Drush, or you run update.php via using the update free access in settings.php, all of those things work fine. But if you are not logged into your website and you can't access update.php, then you have this problem that you can't log in. So it's a set of circumstances that itself, it's actually not even, like if you follow the update instructions, you won't run into this problem. But lots of people do that, like update their code first and then realize they're not logged in. And so it's possible that people run into this kind of frequently when updating to 1.9. So it's not catastrophic because there's lots of ways to work around it, but it's unexpected and it makes things difficult. And I think it would, we don't want to get into a situation where people are not wanting to update to minor versions because they run into problems when updating. So we have a patch that fixes this particular problem. It's issue 2943. I think Klonos, Gregory just said we should get out 1.9.1 as soon as possible. Yes, I agree. So take a look at that pull request if you guys have time. There might be a better solution there. It does fix the problem though. So any thoughts on that would be very welcome. Let's see, it looks like Jen, you just updated this about database passwords. Oh, issue. You want to go over that one real quick because I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, so this is just something that Olaf mentioned in the meeting notes here, that we changed the way database passwords were handled in 1.8. And somebody who just upgraded from a previous version of 1.8 to 1.9 is having a password that previously worked no longer works. And I think that's because there's a percent symbol in it. So we need to figure out if the encoding that we added for our database handling doesn't work with the percent symbol, and try and get that fixed. Olaf was wondering if that was critical or not. So if we have a fix ready for 191, I would recommend we get it in, because we're going to be having a bunch of people wanting to upgrade, and the less we can affect them, the better. I'm not sure it's critical because I don't know how many people are using it, but it seems pretty terrible either way.
No, it sounds critical that your site was working and then you update and then it's not working anymore because it can't connect to the database. I mean, it's not data loss level critical, but it's your site gets entirely broken. Yeah. So that's pretty critical. Okay. It's also I imagine that's kind of tough to track down. I don't know. I'll have to look at the error report. I think that we made it so that the error reporting, if the password is incorrect, is slightly better in these new versions. But I haven't actually seen the error report yet. So yeah.
Well, there's so I linked in the agenda to the comment where I think it was Graham72 posted the password he was using when that happened, so we can recreate it and sort it out.
Yeah, it looks like John Franklin is very helpfully hopping back in there. He filed the original pull request that changed the way that we handle passwords, that makes it so that you can include special characters in your login credentials on PHP 7 and higher. So PHP changed the way it handles URL strings, and that's where we got into the problem, and that we wanted to make sure we supported new versions of PHP that could include like special characters in your username and password. And now it sounds like we inadvertently broke old versions of PHP if you have a special character in your username or password. So anyway, I'm glad that he's taking a look at that. Thank you very much. And we'll see if we can find a backwards compatible way to do this in which we don't break anything. That would be ideal. Okay. Also in the cross-ports land, there was one issue of cross-ports. The latest versions of Drupal, Drupal 7.56, there's a number of cross-ports that haven't been completed yet, and we're tracking those cross-ports at issue 2776. And those are kind of, as always, kind of a as soon as possible type item, just to keep us on par with what people are seeing in Drupal. Okay. 1.10, I think for the next couple of days, like we might be, continuing to focus on 1.9 and making sure we stabilize things there. But 1.10 already has some kind of exciting things that have really strong potential for coming together before the release date of May 15th, 2018. So one thing, a couple of these media library issues that didn't get completed in 1.9 are prime candidates for 1.10. That includes the ability to upload a file manually, which is issue 2633, and to make file entities fieldable, which is issue 2632. Both of those have pull requests that are working, but need a little bit of additional work to make them complete. Also, 1.10, during the past couple of months, we've seen a lot of attention on translation improvements. And so 1.10, for the next couple of months here, we're probably going to be pulling out issues related to translation and bringing them up during these weekly meetings. Two items that are in progress include making menu items translatable, issue 225. And this one is functionally complete. We've had some reviews on that. Olaf, since you're here in the meeting, thank you for taking a look at that and reviewing. I think it even includes tests, but now that I think about it, I can't recall if it does or not. Anyway, the pull request there needs a little bit of work based on some user experience feedback that we've gotten, but functionally it's complete. So that's a really prime candidate for 1.10, and hopefully we'll be able to get that finished early on in the release cycle. A more comprehensive set of changes is issue 704, which is adding the concept of config translation. There's a proof of concept pull request there and some discussion about how we think that things should work. And I think that we have a direction there that is really solid and people agree upon. But we need some more work first on the implementation concept, and then we need to take the concept and then apply it throughout all of core. So those two things can be done separately. They even can be done across multiple releases, but we'll need to build out the implementation and add testing as step one, and then go through and update all of the core implementations as steps 2 through 80. Because there's a lot of strings that are translated that come out of config. Let's see. There's a new section here in the agenda here for modules, themes, and layout improvements, which I'm not familiar with. So Jen, did you add these items? Do you want to cover them real quick?
Sure. So this is based on the results of our survey. So for those of you who haven't noticed, we have a survey that's currently up on our blog. We sent it out via newsletter. We've been tweeting about it recently. We've gotten an overwhelming number of responses. I can't believe how many people have taken the time to answer the survey. We've had so far, I think, 80 people complete the survey. I haven't checked my inbox today to find out if we have any more, but that's fantastic.
Wow.
We're getting some really great statistics on the makeup of the people who are on our mailing list, as well as people who are just finding the post through Twitter from our blog. And it's kind of what we expected, but one of the things we asked was what the blockers were for getting adoption, and our #1 result by like probably twice as much as everything else is people who are waiting for module themes and layouts to be ready. And our #1 complaint in the open comments section was that people are either having a really hard time finding the module themes and layouts that they want to use, or they find the experience of searching for them not good enough. Like they want to see screenshots of themes, and they want the modules to sort in the right order, and they want to be able to know if a module they can't find isn't needed or if it isn't ready. And we have thought about all of these things, but we haven't spent a lot of time working on them. And so there's a couple of different aspects where I think we should change our focus in terms of what we're doing in Backdrop to help people navigate these things better. And so I kind of wanted to add them as higher priority item for 110. So things like improving the ability for people to search on backdropcms.org is important, but also the ability to search in their modules listing page where they're installing there. And so we've had this really long-standing issue, number 37, I think, from the very beginning of Backdrop, where people have wanted to be able to use something other than the project listing to find modules. And so there's some great conversation about having like an official supported project list, but then letting people add whatever other tags they want, because if your module fits in more than one category, you might want to have a tag. And if we get a lot of tags that are the same, we can take those tags and turn them into official supported categories. So I think getting that sorted out to give people a better searching experience, both on backdropcms.org, where we can have like a select list of the supported tags in it, an autocomplete of the regular tags, and then on the software itself, where they're grouped by the supported categories, but you can search using the search box for anything with a specific tag. Then you don't have to know exactly what category that module is placed in. You can search for other things. So I think that'll help. And so I want to prioritize that and see, we've got a couple of pull requests in the queue, see what state they're in, how much of that we can add to in the 1.x cycle to make that better experience. And then adding screenshots. We know we haven't had screenshots for themes since we've launched the search for themes page on backdropcms.org. We have some ideas about how to support multiple screenshots. We need to figure those out and get that sorted out. And these changes to Backdrop itself will coincide with changes to backdropcms.org to support the new features that we're adding. So we'll like show the screenshots right once we get them supported via the info file. So we've got some work to do there, but I think based on the feedback of our survey, it should be a higher priority item. So that's why I've tagged some of these things for 110.
Great. Yeah, it would be really impressive to take the feedback that we're receiving and implement it, so people can see, oh, wow, that I said something in the survey and it got fixed. That feels good. So I agree. That would be awesome. That's it for the 1.10 update. I'll reiterate again, since now we are officially moving forward with this, and 1.10 is already in bootstrap.inc as the next version number, and that it's semi-official. I mean, it's almost like within 90% certainty the next version of Backdrop will be 1.10, not going to 2.0. So we can, now that we've kind of made that decision, that kind of leaves the door open here for continuing down minor releases for a really long time, because we can just keep going to 1.11, 12, 13, and so forth, up until we get to an inflection point where we need to make a decision about actually releasing 2.0. But I think universally amongst all community members that have chimed in there anywhere, they have all agreed that we're not ready to break backwards compatibility yet with earlier versions of Backdrop and explicitly the Drupal compatibility layer. So continuing the 1.x branch keeps us within semantic versioning standards, and also saves us a lot of effort needing to modify the way update module works and backdropcms.org and all of those things that are dependent upon the major version being like meaning something regarding compatibility versus 1 versus 2. So 1.10, May 15th, 2018. Ta-da! That's it for the product update this week. It's been, oh man, it's been quite a week. So I'm really excited. Congratulations again. Thank you everybody for your hard work in getting 1.9 out the door. And yay, another great year of Backdrop work. We've now had 10 releases of Backdrop, including like 1.0 up to 1.9.
Yesterday was the 3rd anniversary of 1.0 being released.
Yesterday was? It was on the 17th?
I thought so.
I think it's always been on the 15th. But
oh, maybe I just tweeted about it on the 17th or posted. I think I posted a Facebook message on the 17th. Sorry, I was late. 2 days late.
Yep, but it is true. Like Backdrop has now turned 3 years old. Not to mention we had a whole year prior to that in which Backdrop was in development. So,
but that was just gestation.
That's just the gestation period, exactly. So Backdrop has turned 3 years old, which, yeah, I mean, that in itself it's a pretty tremendous milestone. I know we're continuing to build other people's confidence in the Backdrop platform. I mean, the new features and functionality that we're adding are speak volumes, I think. But for those people that have never used Backdrop, I think we're really shocking people just purely with the longevity and the continued existence of Backdrop. Like, if nothing else, they can look at us and say, wow, they're still around. And it looks like it's going to, continue that way for, well, as far as we see into the future. So Yeah, happy 3rd birthday, Backdrop and Backdrop community. Thank you guys very much.
Yay.
Yay. Jeff is not around. There's an item in the agenda here for Backdrop for Good. I'm not sure if anyone here would like to take his place on that. No? Okay, I'll just remove that from the agenda. Is there anything else that we would like to discuss during the recording? Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys, everybody, for joining this week, and thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll catch you guys next Thursday. Goodbye.
Bye.